First we unpack the box, take out 6 fan blades and motor assembly. There are 12 bolts of M1045. Take the fan blades, attach it to the connection block of the motor. Note that this angle needs to be tilted. It's about a 15-degree tilt. The fan blades should be inclined a little for it to be inserted. This is the installation of one fan blade. Need to install all 6 fan blades. That is how the fan blade and motor are installed. Next, we take out the 12 bolts. Each fan blade needs to install 2 bolts. Pay attention to the following when installing the screws. The nut part below the nut is with a flat washer. Then insert it from the bottom of the fan blade to the top. The nut is on top. There is a flat washer over the nut, and add a spring washer. Then screw on the nut. Install all 12 screws on the fan blade in sequence. This is what it looks like installed. Then it should be noted that the top is a flat pad and a spring pad, and the nut is on the top. The bottom is a flat pad and the bottom screw, which can be worn from the bottom. The next 2 tools to be used. One is an electric wrench and the other is a 16 mm open end wrench. The 16 mm open end wrench is clamped at the nut on the lower side. Then use the electric wrench to tighten the screws one by one, 12 screws in total. We'll make this and put it aside for later use. Then the next thing we need to find is the rear grille with ribs. For connecting blocks, for M1045 bolts and for sets of U-shaped buckles. Note that the U-shaped buckle only has buckle and nut. This is a connection component. Take this to pass out for spare. The tool needed to remove the reinforcement is a small electric gun with a 10 mm head. Find this rear grille. Here is a big hole and a small hole. Then remove the reinforcing rib next to the small hole. The reinforcing rib on the opposite side was also removed. This step requires multiple people to collaborate at the same time. First step. Find this accessory that you took out earlier. This accessory is located behind the grille. Next, find the motor mounting base, which is located at the front of the grille. 2 people are required to install this prop at the same time. Then take out 4 M1045 screws and nuts. The whole screw is passed through from the back to connect to the front motor mounting bracket. Then the position of this hole is next to this big hole, and then pass through. It is to use a flat washer and a spring washer, and then add nuts to fix it. The fixed position here is also next to the big hole. Then install the bracket at this hole, and take another rear bottom plate from the back windy overlap. Let it form a fixed. After fixing, install the next 2 nuts below. The nut on the back is only the screw and a flat washer. The tool needed for this step is the head of the electric gun 16 mm. At the back, use a 16 mm adjustable wrench to clamp the screw. Then use an electric gun to fix the 4 screws in turn. This is what it looks like installed. Note that these 2 large holes are located on the top and bottom of the grill in turn. This is what it looks like behind the rear grill. That is how the front of the grill is installed. Next, we just put the reinforcing rib that we just removed, one on each side, and install it back. Find the 4 ribs. Take a stiffener, a ring, and 2 nuts. Find the double groove position of the rib and insert it on the original rib of the fan blade. Then use the U-shaped ring to buckle from the top. Fasten the bottom with screws. Install 4 heel reinforcements in sequence. Pay attention to the order of placement. The motor mounting bracket is facing up, the grill, and then the ribs. This is the overall structure. Then there is also a U-shaped ring on the side, and the screw holes are aligned to pass through the inside and fixed on the thicker main rib. Wrap the grill around and tighten the screws. The same steps, installation operation 4 times. In the next step, we need to take out the largest screws of M1660 and 4 buckle plates. Here are the tools you need for installation: a 24 mm stun gun and an open end wrench. This is the main frame of the entire rack. Then you need to install this rack on the I-beam. This is an I-beam. Then the whole rack is in front of this. This gusset is buckled at the back. It is to put the 4 gussets just taken on this bracket. Note that this screw should not be tightened too tightly so that it can move. Later, this gusset will slide over and buckle on the I-beam. It should be noted here that there is a flat washer and a spring washer in front of the nut, and a flat washer at the back. It should be noted that the position of this bed is here. Later here is to clamp the I-beam, and then tighten the screws. After fixing this side on the I-beam, push the buckle over. Then take out the 24 mm open end wrench and electric gun we prepared just now, and tighten the screws at the back. The other side is the same operation. Attach the bracket to the I-beam, and then tighten the screws manually with the wrench to tighten it again. The next tools we will use are 3 dust cover components, 2 long hexagon socket screws with nuts and 6 short hexagon socket screws. and a 2.5 mm Allen screwdriver and a 4 mm Allen screwdriver. The first one is the big one. The big one is the upper cover. Pass the motor wire through this big hole and take out the power cord. After the dust cover is put on, the big opening faces the front of the fan. Next, install the following dust cover. Mounted under this pole. Here is the alignment for this position. Install it with 4 mm hexagon socket screws from top to bottom. Then fix it with nuts. Here are 2 screws side by side, which must be installed and fixed. Use 4 small Allen screws on the other side. Here are 2. The bottom is also used too. Tighten these screws in turn. Finally, install this small dust cover. Installed between this motor swing head linkage and this bracket. Find the screw holes, align them, and tighten the screws. Do the same thing on the other side, tighten the screws. This is what it looks like when the bracket is installed on the I-beam. Pay attention to the installation position of this small dust cover here. Motor on top. When installing the wires here, pay attention to passing the wires out of the holes. Next is the installation of the rear grille, which needs to be used 2 long screws, 1 spring washer, 2 flat washers. The bottom one is the flat washer on the nut, and the upper one is the nut spring washer, flat washer. There is also a need to use a 16 毫米 open-end wrench, preferably with a ratchet, and the stun gun is also a 16 mm head. The next step is to adjust the direction of the rear grille. The side with the semicircle is backed by this rod. Align these 2 holes. Lift up the rear grille, find the screw hole and insert it in, and then use the nut to go through it to fix it. The 7 small holes here are used to adjust the angle. Choose the appropriate angle according to the situation, and then pass the nut through it. Screw on the 2 screws at the back, first the flat pad and then the spring pad. The outermost is the nut. Remember to tighten it with a stun gun and a wrench. The next step is to use the motor and fan blades that have just been installed. Need to pass this thread through this hole to the back. Pull the wire to the back. Slowly lift up the fan blade and the motor while pulling. Then align the hole and insert it into it. Next, find the fasteners. 4 sets of bolts, 4 stainless steel pads, 2 18 mm ratchet trenches, 1 belt wrench. Then remove those 4 sets of bolts. There is a place to reserve in the middle. The stainless steel pad should be placed in the middle. Then put the nut with the flat washer through the stainless steel washer from behind. Flat washers on this side, then spring washers, and finally tighten the nuts. For the first one, you don't need to tighten it too much, just make sure it won't fall off. Then screw the second screw at the opposite corner and follow the steps of the first one to install. After all 4 are installed, tighten them with a ratchet wrench and an open-end wrench. Next, install the grill. It U-shaped buckles, stun gun with 10 mm head. Get the grill ready. Then put the grill on top of the rear grill. This tendon must be aligned with this tendon. Use the U-shaped buckle to snap the 2 grills together. Then tighten with 2 nuts. Finally, tighten the nuts with a torch. Find this for U-shaped cars without the lock. Then the 4 holes on which the ribs are placed in sequence. Then tighten with nuts. Tighten it with a stun gun at the end. Install the U-shaped cars of the 4 reinforcing ribs in sequence. The net cover has been installed. The next step is to power on. The motor main wire coming from this back. Then put on the bellows. The yellow and green 2-color wire is the ground wire, and the 2 ground wires are connected together. Then connect the blue wire to the blue wire. It can be wrapped with electrical tape or with a quick connector. Connect the yellow wire to the red wire. Connect the green and brown wires together. There is only 1 black and gray wire left here, and the other wires have already been connected. Next is the capacitor, and a wire connected to the white wire on the motor. Then the other wire of the capacitor, the remaining green wire on the main power line, and the yellow wire on the motor. The three wires are connected together. The remaining black line of the main power line is connected to the black line of the motor. All wiring should be wrapped with electrical tape. Put these wires together and fix them on the cantilever with tape or cable ties. Prevent wire connectors from being short-circuited or loosened due to force. Before wiring, put this part through. Connect the black wire first, and connect it to the 5 holes. Then the gray wire is connected to the 6 holes. Then there is the ground wire, the yellow and green wire, which is connected to the 4 holes. The remaining 3 wires are connected carefully. After connecting, if you find that the motor is reversed, change the position of any 2 of the last 3 wires. On the installation, turn on the fan test. Thanks for your support. Bye.